Hello guys, welcome to this part of the tutorial. So in this very video, we want to make the user's div to be clickable so that we can select any user of our choice and chat with them. So to do that, what you need to do is to create a file and name it chat.php. Before I started this video, I already created mine. So this is it, chat.php. Create it in the same root folder of your project. So what we need to do to achieve that is to go to our database connection file where we have the function to display all the users. Now right below this echo, just add an anchor tag and then close it here. Now what you need to do is at the ref attributes type chat.php so that when you click on the link, it's going to provide for you. It takes you to the blank chat.php page. So we need to go back and then pass the details of the user. So we are going to be recognizing each user by their unique ID, which we are going to get from the database using the row ID. So to do that, let's just create a variable receiver underscore ID equals, then put two single quotes, then variable row, and then you go ID. So that when we save and then refresh, you can see that when you go ahead and click on this pulse-mate, you can see that the receiver ID here is 2. So as the receiver ID there is 2, it simply means that this chat application has started to recognize users by their ID. So you can see the receiver ID for Mary Ann is 3 and that for John Mark is 4. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out so that we can continue with the tutorial. So now let's go and enter the file and then delete this underlining that is there. So you add style and then set text decoration to none, and then when we refresh that, the lines under the link disappear. So let's just click on pulse-mate. So now by clicking on pulse-mate, we want to display pulse-mate details on this blank page. So what you need to do is go back to your users.php file and then Ctrl A and then just copy all the codes that are there and then paste it in your chat.php file, and then go back to your chat app, your chat.php file, and then refresh. So you have to delete this view all users and some other things. So what you need to do is this, just delete the view all users from there. And then when you have done that, you refresh, you get this. Now you have to delete this function from here because you'll be needing another function, and then you refresh, you get that. Now the next thing you need to do is this. Just go ahead and delete this entire PHP start and end line. So the border radius here, change it to just 0 pixels. Just 0 pixels will be okay. So go ahead and refresh. And then you see we have a blank page there. So what you now need to do is give it a minimum height. So mean height of 500 pixels, and then a maximum height of 500 pixels also. Max height of 500 pixels. Then overflow Y, set that to scroll for the messages, So when you refresh, we get this. Now what we need to do, we need to populate John Smith's data at the top of this header div here. So to achieve that, we are going to create, let's just go to our database connection file and then create a function. So function fetch receiver details. So because we are going to be chatting with John Smith or any other user and they are going to be acting as the receiver, so we are going to create a variable connect and then another variable receiver underscore ID. So those are the two variable arguments we are going to be passing there. So now what we need to do is to copy this and then paste it right here to save time, So it's going to now be select star from, which is select all from TBL users where ID equals. So you are going to be replacing user ID with receiver ID. So you are going to replace this just like this, and then row equals mysqli underscore query connect and query. So now what you need to do is to come up here, we want to save time, and then copy this return from this other function and then paste it right here. Then you also go back there and then copy the row just here to fetch associatively the details of the user who is going to be the receiver of our chat messages. So you are going to delete this X just right here and then come this way. So okay, I think we're going to be needing that X, as a button to be used in exiting our chat. So let's just refresh and see what we have. Definitely we are going to have just nothing there because we've not included the function on our chat.php page. So let's just go back to the chat.php page and then paste the function there. So we are going to just echo the function, and then instead of receiver ID or user ID as we have been doing, it's going to be underscore get receiver ID. I'm going to be explaining this the get and post that we've been using in the chat from the beginning of this video, so that we can go ahead and understand it better for the sake of the beginners among us. So this me text in brackets, you have to just delete that, and then let's go and refresh. So you can see we have Paul Smith here. So now for this X button to work, here is what we need to do for the X button to work. So we are going to delete the link. We actually do not need it to be a link. We don't need it to be a link. We just need to use JavaScript to enable it so that when we click on it, we get taken back in history. So we are going to use JavaScript on click event. So on click history.go. Then inside you create a bracket. Inside the bracket, you just write -1, so that when we click, we get taken back. So now we are going to be clicking on the X and we are taken back. So let's click on Mary Ann, and now we can see Mary Ann's details here. When we go and click on the X, we are taken back. Let's click on John Mark, and then we are seeing John Mark's details just here, and that is just enough for what we need. Those are just the basic information. So we need another div at the bottom of this middle div. So it's here we are going to be writing our input types and then button to send the messages. So to do that, go to your chat.php page and then copy from the div class row just here. Copy that and then come right under the div class row that is under here and then paste it. Then when you refresh, you get the same Paul Smith. So let's just go ahead and correct that. So you are going to be deleting this function from there, and when you delete it and you refresh, you get this. So let's just go ahead and change the design. So you're going to change this border radius of 0 pixels, 10 pixels, 10 pixels again. Okay, what we want is 0, 0, 10, 10, so that it's going to form a perfect square up and then give us that curved edge right at the bottom. So when we refresh, we get what we want. Then we have to create the input type text. So input type text here, and then give it a class. And we give it a class of form control. We are going to be using that to type our messages. So you can see we now have an input type just here. So let's give it a placeholder. So give it a placeholder, which is going to be type a message to send. So type a message to send is the placeholder we've given. So for the sake of the free version of the screen recorder I'm using, I'm going to be ending this video here. See you in the next video where I'm going to go ahead to complete this chat box so that we can chat with every other user that is existing in our chat application.